Hi, my name is Aishi Jang, and today I'll be covering two word solutions pertaining to the video on the four emergent properties of water, part 2. Question 1. Consider a pond in the middle of winter. Why does the ice float in liquid water? A. The ionic bonds between the molecules keep the ice from shrinking. B. Ice has air bubbles to keep it afloat. C. Hydrogen bonds stabilize and keep the molecules of ice farther apart than the water molecules of liquid water. D. The crystalline lattice of ice causes it to be denser than liquid water. Please take a few moments to think about this question. If you answered C, hydrogen bonds stabilize and keep the molecules of ice farther apart than the water molecules of liquid water, then you are correct. Let's consider some of the other answers. A has to do with ionic bonding, which is something that doesn't occur between water molecules, as water molecules are actually not charged. Although water molecules do have partial positive and partial negative charges, they do not have ionic bonds. It's incorrect. B. Ice has air bubbles to keep it afloat. Although ice is more capable of trapping air bubbles within its crystalline structure compared to liquid water, this is not the best answer because ice itself, without the air bubbles, is simply less dense than liquid water. So that's why it floats. D. The crystalline lattice of ice causes it to be denser than liquid water. This is not the case because ice is actually less dense than water, and that's why it floats. If ice were more dense than liquid water, then it would sink. D does not make sense. Now, question 2. Hydrophobic substances like olive oil are A. Polar substances that attract water. B. Polar substances that repel water. C. Nonpolar substances that attract water. D. Nonpolar substances that repel water. Or E. Charged molecules that hydrogen bond with water molecules. Take a few seconds to think about this answer. If you answered D, nonpolar substances that repel water, then you are correct. First off, hydrophobic substances repel water. They are not attracted to water. So A and C are incorrect. Now, let's look at B. Polar substances that repel water. Well, if you remember from what we learned in the concept video, polar substances actually attract water because water is a polar molecule. Water has the partial negative charge at the oxygen end and the partial positive charge at the hydrogen ends. So B is incorrect. Now let's consider E. Charged molecules that hydrogen bond with water molecules. Well, molecules that hydrogen bond with water molecules would actually be hydrophilic, so E is incorrect.